In the previous video, we discussed some special strategies for reading part 2. In this video, we're going to talk about some strategies that will help you in part 3 of the reading test. In reading part 3, Reading for Information, there will always be 4 paragraphs of informational text. Each question in this part requires you to read a statement and then decide in which paragraph, A, B, C, or D, that information can be found. But sometimes the information isn't found anywhere in the passage, and you'll have to indicate that by selecting E, which means the answer could not be found in any of the paragraphs. Therefore, it's really important to have a good idea what each paragraph does and doesn't discuss. And another thing, test takers often find reading parts 3 and 4 more challenging than parts 1 and 2. Mostly because these later parts tend to contain a lot of difficult vocabulary. Do you remember the 3 types of questions on the reading test? General meaning, specific information, and inference questions. Well, the higher level vocabulary often makes these questions more difficult. Specific information questions are especially challenging in reading parts 3 and 4, as they may depend on your understanding of a particular word. General meaning and inference questions draw on your overall understanding of a text, and so, if you read carefully, they shouldn't be quite as hard. Okay, so where should you begin in reading part 3? First, you should quickly preview all the text. Here's an example to show you what I mean. There will always be a timer like this at the top of the screen. So I've got 10 minutes for this part. And how about the number of questions? Notice that I've got 9 questions here, and they're all in the same format. So I've got a total of 10 minutes for 9 questions. But if I spend just over a minute on each question, that doesn't leave me much time to actually read the passage. That's okay. I briefly mentioned the concepts of skimming and scanning in a previous video. Now I'm going to show you how useful these both can be. First, let's talk about skimming. When you skim a passage of text, you read over it very quickly, keeping an eye out for the main ideas. It's unlikely that you'll have enough time to thoroughly read every line of text, as well as answer the questions. Skimming will help you use your time more efficiently. Let's skim the text in this example by looking at the first and last sentence of each paragraph. These often give us a good idea of the topics being presented. And don't worry if you don't know anything about this topic. That's common, and you're not being tested on your knowledge of it. Okay, so paragraph A discusses the variety of wedding traditions in Canada. Paragraph B talks about the period of time before a wedding, called the engagement. Paragraph C covers the wedding ceremony itself, and paragraph D discusses the financial resources that weddings often require. Alright, so just by skimming the text, I've got a general idea of what this passage is about. Now let's try a question from this part. It is less expensive to make one's own plans than to hire an expert. A, B, C, D, E. Remember, if you select E, it means that the information in this statement isn't found in any paragraph. Okay, so this is where scanning comes in useful. Scanning is when you look for keywords and specific pieces of information in the text. It's unlikely that you'll find the exact same words in the paragraphs as you see in the questions. So you'll need to look for paraphrases, that is, words with similar meanings. Okay, so in this case, I'll try to look for words that relate to money, expenses, and savings. I should also look for words about making one's own plans, such as doing things yourself. And speaking of the word plan, you might notice that variations of this word appear in multiple paragraphs. I've got planning in paragraph B, I've got plan in paragraph C, and planner and planning in paragraph D. So don't just choose the first paragraph you see that contains a term matching the key word in the question. Alright, now I've got to pick a paragraph to scan. Remember that I don't have time to look through every one, But I already know that paragraph D is about wedding finances. So I'll start there. Let's see. Aha! The third sentence says that other couples, perhaps with fewer financial resources, do all the planning and make all the arrangements themselves. Fewer financial resources and do all the planning and make all the arrangements themselves are pretty similar to the terms I was looking for. So the answer to this question must be paragraph D. Okay, how about one more? A man is responsible for buying a pair of engagement rings. I'll scan some more to find the answer. As I do this, I'll try to keep an eye out for words that have to do with responsibility, like if you must or have to do something. And I'll see if any words jump out at me that relate to rings or jewelry. Now, which paragraph should I scan? I know that paragraph B is about the engagement, so I'll start there. Aha! And in the third sentence, it says, the husband-to-be might buy an engagement ring. Oh, but further down it says that other couples choose not to spend money on an engagement ring. So it's talking about rings in this paragraph, but it doesn't explicitly state that the man is responsible for buying a pair of rings. Therefore, the answer is actually E. The information in this statement isn't actually found in any of the paragraphs. You'll never know which statements can be found in the text and which cannot. So don't spend too long on any one question. The answers may not even be found in the text. In this video, we discussed a number of strategies that can prove very useful for reading part 3. Regardless of the topic of this part, there are some things that will always be the same. The time will be 10 minutes, you'll have 9 questions to answer, and the text will be split into 4 paragraphs. And remember that skimming and scanning are especially useful in this part. In the next video, we'll discuss some specific strategies for reading part 4, reading for viewpoints.